All right, Patrick, leading into free agency, there seemed to be so much, I don't even know if it's division, but fuss over Tyler Myers becoming a Vancouver Canuck. You know, stories of him having dinner with the owner and people begging the owner not to sign this guy. Is this a decent signing in terms of upgrading the blue line?
I think the point that's been made elsewhere that if you look at Myers and you look at a long term, it really isn't. I mean, the dollars in the season is an issue because it inherently puts a valuation on what you think this player is going to be. You know, you sign Lou Eriksson to $6 million. You think he's going to be a first-line winger. You know, that's not what you should be spending for a fourth-line winger. So if you're,
but it's not your money.
No, I know, but you know, you can't help it.
If it prohibits you doing something else, fair enough.
Yeah, but I think what it is that from the outside, you're like, well, you want the fans follow these teams. They want them to win. They want to feel like that what they're looking at makes sense. But what I was going to say was the comparison point, as has been made elsewhere, is if you look at, say, PK Subban, he makes $9 million a year for 3 more years. Him and Tyler Myers are the same age. You know, who would you rather have for the next 3 years? I think the answer is still PK Subban.
Absolutely.
So, you know, the term does become a concern. It's not an issue maybe right now, but, you know, he's going into his 30s. You know, aging out for defensemen especially is not a good pattern in your 30s. It just doesn't go very well. So that to me, that to me is the big concern, and people want to feel like they have a team that they're going to cheer for years and years that's going to win and win. And that's what's been so, you know, I think so hopeful for people looking at the younger players. It's what they do with the rest, I think, that has been concerning. And there's been a pattern there of sort of overvaluing things you don't need, overpaying for players that don't bring as much to the table as you think you do. And that to me is what so much of the fan reaction is about.
But is it... He makes the team better next year, doesn't he? Or is there a scenario where this is Eric Goodbranson 2.0?
He's better than
that.
He's a better puck mover than Eric Goodbranson, but there's lots of reasons to see in his game. You know, someone told me, I mentioned this on Twitter, someone told me around the time of the draft that his best season was when he was 19, which is like a decade ago. And he's been sort of downhill ever since. And you know, he's a big player.
Sounds familiar to me.
Sounds familiar, but he's a big player. He doesn't actually defend all that well. There's sort of this notion of, you know, he'll protect, but that's not the game he plays. He's not that guy. First of all, the game's moved past that, but also he just doesn't play that way. And he's not a terribly agile defender in his own end. And he's not, I mean, they needed better players to move the puck, and that's sort of, I guess, one of the arguments we'll get from the Canucks is that, listen, our breakouts weren't very good last year. We need a player who's better at it. In theory, he's better at it, but the problem is what he's doing when he doesn't have the puck, and unfortunately, he doesn't have the puck. He doesn't have the puck too often. I mean, that's the thing. He's playing defense, and he's not very good at it.
Yeah. Well, you can come back to theprovince.com, vancouversun.com, get all the reaction to the Canucks free agent signings and everything that's happening in the offseason. Listen to our White Towel podcast, and yeah, come back to the website for all your Canucks news.